Good afternoon and welcome to the Public Service Commission of South Carolina. We are here for a hearing in docket 2022-205T. Let's take a roll call of commissioners. Present in the hearing room, we have Commissioner Justin Williams, Vice Chair Powers, Commissioner Carolee Williams, and Chair Belser. Appearing virtually, we have Commissioner Irvin and Commissioner Caston, and on the telephone, we have Commissioner Thomas. I'll recognize Staff Counsel Sandra Moser to read the docket.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, commissioners and parties. We're here today for the proceeding in docket number 2022-205-T regarding the petition of the South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff to revoke certificates of public convenience and necessity of certain motor carriers for non-payment of decal fees and or for failure to maintain and to file evidence of insurance. The proceeding has been scheduled for today, September 29th, 2022, immediately following the Commission's 2 o'clock business meeting. All parties participating in this matter are available, and the docket is in order. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moser. Who's appearing for the Office of Regulatory Staff?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. My name is Ben Mustian. I'm General Counsel for ORS.
Thank you, Mr. Mustian. And we had one of the respondents, defendants, that had indicated through email that she wanted to appear virtually, Alicia J. Thomas, doing business as Divine Transportation. Mr. Mustian, do you have any information regarding her appearance today?
Yes, Madam Chair. It's my understanding that we spoke with her. I believe she has come into compliance, if I understand correctly, and would no longer be part of the revocation proceedings today.
And is it also your understanding that she recognized and indicated that she would not be attending the hearing today?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mustian, I will recognize you to present your case.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. With us today is Ms. Dina Lusk, and would ask her to be sworn in at this time.
Go ahead. You want me to do it? You're on.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Ms. Lusk, could you please state your name and business address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Dina Lusk. Is it on? Okay. My name is Dina Lusk, and my business address is 1401 Main Street, Columbia, South Carolina.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by the South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff as the Transportation Specialist in the Broadband, Telecommunication, and Safety Department.
And what are your duties in that position?
In part, I am responsible for managing the semi-annual licensing and decal fee payment process and insurance filings of motor carriers that hold a Class C certificate of public convenience and necessity. I also serve as the custodian of business records for the Transportation Department.
Have you had the opportunity to testify before this commission previously?
No, this is my first time testifying before the commission.
Okay. What is the purpose of your testimony today?
The purpose of my testimony is to provide information related to Class C motor carriers that have failed to pay semi-annual decal fees and or failed to file proof of insurance with the ORS as of January 1st, 2022, which is the beginning of the first enforcement period of 2022.
Ms. Lusk, prior to the passage of Senate Bill 1045 earlier this year, did the South Carolina statutes and commission regulations require carriers to pay semi-annual decal fees?
Yes. South Carolina Code Section 58-23-560 stated that certain holders of Class A, B, or C certificates with less than 20 vehicles must pay a specified decal fee semi-annually on or before January 1st and July 1st of each year.
Okay. And did the motor carriers that were listed in Exhibit A to the petition filed in this proceeding, did they pay their decal fees by January 1, 2022?
No, they did not, and accordingly their certificates became subject for revocation.
Okay. And has Section 58-23-560 been amended since January 1, 2022?
Yes, Senate Bill 1045 amended this section earlier this year.
And with the passage of that bill, can you explain what the statute currently requires?
As of May 23rd, 2022, The holder of a certificate A, B, or C must pay to ORS annually before January 1st of each year a license fee of $50 per vehicle.
Okay. And did the statutory change in and of itself affect whether or not the certificates for the motor carriers listed in Exhibit A, whether or not they are still subject to revocation?
No, because the motor carriers did not pay their decal fees by January 1st of 2022, which was required prior to when the statutory change went into effect. So their certificates are still subject to revocation.
Do state statutes and commission regulations require carriers to file proof of insurance?
Yes. Commission Regulation 103-171 states that evidence of bodily injury and property damage insurance will be filed on a Form E, Uniform Motor Carrier Bodily Injury and Property Damage Liability Certificate of Insurance. Commission Regulation 103-174 also states that evidence of cargo insurance will be filed on a Form H, Uniform Motor Carrier Cargo Certificate of Insurance. Additionally, Section 58-23-910 requires applicants for motor vehicle certificates to obtain liability and property damage insurance or a reasonable alternative. It also states that such insurance must be kept in full force and effect, and failure to do so is cause for the revocation of the certificate.
Ms. Lusk, did the motor carriers listed on Exhibit B as filed with the petition provide the necessary proofs of insurance?
No, they did not, and therefore they are subject to having their certificates revoked.
Do you have copies of Exhibits A, B, and C that were filed with the petition in this matter?
Yes.
Okay. Could you describe those documents, please?
Yes, the first document is a copy of Petition Exhibit A, which I prepared and was filed with the Commission on June 8th, 2022. This exhibit lists carriers that were out of compliance for non-payment of licensing and decal fees to the ORS. The second document is a copy of Petition Exhibit B, which I prepared and that was filed on June 8th, 2022. And this exhibit lists carriers that were out of compliance for failure to have evidence of insurance on file with the ORS. And the third document is my affidavit dated June 8th, 2022, which was filed as Petition Exhibit C.
Madam Chair, just for clarification, these were the exhibits that were filed with the petition back earlier this year, and I would move that Petition Exhibits A, B, and C be identified and marked as the entered into the record as the next hearing exhibit.
The Exhibit A, B, and C, which were attached to the petition, will be a composite exhibit marked for identification as Hearing Exhibit 1 and received into the evidence of this proceeding.
Ms. Lusk, have the motor carriers listed in Petitions Exhibits A and B been afforded notice of this hearing?
Yes, a copy of the petition and all exhibits were mailed to each of our carriers listed in Petition Exhibits A and B. Additionally, it was my understanding a notice of the hearing in this case was mailed by the Commission staff to each of the carriers or their registered agents.
Okay. And what response did you have to the petition?
Of the 49 carriers listed in Petition Exhibit A, 20 carriers have now filed appropriate documentation with the ORS. 7 carriers had their certificates canceled, and 2 carriers were granted temporary suspensions of their certificates by the Commission. And as of today, 20 carriers remain out of compliance. Of the 30 carriers listed in Petition Exhibit B, 4 carriers have now filed appropriate documentation with the ORS, and 5 carriers had their certificates canceled. As of today, 21 carriers remain out of compliance.
Madam Chair, this time I would hand out a revised version of Exhibits A and B. And Madam Chair, just for the record, this was filed on DMS earlier today. Ms. Lusk, did you prepare revised petition exhibits A and B?
Yes.
Okay, and could you describe those documents for me, please?
Yes, this morning of September 29th, 2022, I prepared revised petition exhibit A by verifying the names and information again. The revised petition exhibit A lists by name the 20 carriers that have not provided payment for decal fees to ORS and have not had their certificates canceled or temporarily suspended. This morning, I also prepared revised petition Exhibit B by verifying the names and information again. The revised petition Exhibit B lists by name the 21 carriers that have not provided proof of insurance to ORS and have not had their certificates canceled or temporarily suspended.
Madam Chair, at this time I would ask that the revised petition exhibits A and B be marked as the next composite exhibit and entered into the record, be marked and entered into the record as the next composite exhibit.
Revised exhibits A and B will be a composite exhibit marked for identification as hearing exhibit number 2 and received into the evidence of this case.
Ms. Lusk, what are ORS's recommendations in this matter?
Yes, ORS recommends that the Commission revoke the certificates of those 20 carriers listed in revised petition Exhibit A for failure to comply with the licensing and decal fee requirements of the statutes and regulations. ORS also recommends that the Commission revoke the certificates of those 21 carriers listed in revised petition Exhibit B for their failure to comply with the insurance requirements of the statutes and regulations.
Thank you, Ms. Lusk. Please answer any questions that the commissioners may have.
Thank you.
Commissioners, questions for this witness? Ms. Lusk, can't let you get away without any cross-examination. I believe that there was some correspondence, and I just spoke to your counsel about Alicia Thomas doing business as Divine Transportation.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you aware that she had either emailed ORS and the commission, or emailed the commission and the commission forwarded emails around?
Yes.
Can you tell us the status of her situation?
Yes, she got back into compliance and paid her fees due to ORS, so she's good with us, and she's been taken off of this revised exhibit.
And she was only on the decal license fee list, was not on the insurance list.
Let me verify
Well,
this really quick before I answer. Yes, she was only on Exhibit A.
Okay. And you stated in your testimony that everybody on this list, this was for non-payment of decals for the January 1, 2022 date.
Yes, ma'am.
And with the change in the law, there were no decal fees due on July 1 of 2022. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
July 1, so of course with the new statute change, this does, we're still working on it internally as far as figuring out how we're going to handle things starting January 1 of 2023. But as of July 1, that statute came into effect. And
But y'all didn't send out notices for decal fees being due on July 1 of 2022, this past?
we did prior to the passing of
Right.
this
Okay.
bill. I think it's called a bill.
Act.
Act. There you go. So we did send out our decal renewal forms prior to that, but we cannot require them to pay those fees.
Okay.
We are accepting registration for those vehicles instead of having to pay those decal fees.
Understand.
Yes.
And so the next decal fee will be due January 1,
January 1, and it'll be $50 per vehicle.
Okay. Is that an increase?
For
know?
some it is, and for some it's not.
Okay. And how long does a carrier have to pay? Is there a grace period from January 1?
So we actually we'll be sending out our renewal forms come November 15th. And so we give them the deadline is December 15th, but everything, obviously the active vehicle reports and the registration is not due until January 1. Of course, there is a grace period after that, but it's January 1 is technically when everything is supposed to be due.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
congratulate. How long have you been at ORS?
January 4th was my first day.
Okay.
So not too long, but
Steep learning
long
curve.
enough. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
been
you very
great.
much.
Thank you.
Commissioners, further questions for Ms. Lusk? Mr. Mustian, any redirect?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Lusk, you may stand down.
Thank you.
Mr. Mustian, is there anything else?
Nothing further.
Okay. With that, we'll close this proceeding and have this on the agenda for consideration as soon as we can. Thank you, and everyone have a good afternoon, and please stay safe over the next couple of days. Thank you.